What's up, New York Mets Nation? Welcome to the Bat Cave. I'm your host, the Bat Fry, Kenny Fry, and it is Hump Day. There we go. It's Hump Day. Beautiful. Love Hump Day. Except this Hump Day in particular, I work this weekend, so unless there's some sort of miracle, grace by God or what have you, locust, raining hellfire or something, I will be at work this weekend, so there is no hump day this week for me. I will have to wait another week for a hump day of some sort. So, never say never, though. You never know. Maybe they decide. You know what? The Bat Fry, Kenny Fry, he needs the weekend off. Which I don't. I don't need the weekend off. I need to be working. Try to build that bank account back up from the holidays, and with with the hits keep on coming. We got Valentine's Day right around the corner, and anniversary of 2 months, 3 months after that. So the hits keep on coming, and just can't make enough money. I mean, if you're Juan Soto, plenty of money. Don't got to worry about it. But I am not, as you can tell, I am not Juan Soto. You know what? Maybe I'll throw the headphones on here. How about that? Maybe I'll throw the headphones on. That'll sound better. I thought I had my headphones on. I took them off. And anyway, I don't know if anybody heard my beginning spiel there, but I'm not going to do it again. But it is Hump Day, and welcome to the Bat Cave. And we are off to an ominous start here, a start that I immediately regret now. Not putting on my headset. I look like a fool, an ass, as it were. And we will move on, and we will not talk about it again. I will not review this episode. I will never watch this episode again. So, all right. Hopefully the audio came through in the beginning. I'm not sure if it did or didn't. But if it didn't, basically I was just joking around, and it probably wasn't even funny anyway, so you didn't miss anything. This is going to be a quick episode. I wasn't actually planning on coming on this week. One, because I do work this weekend, and I did a Silver and Black Layer Raiders on Monday, did Silver and Black Layer Kings yesterday. And I'm like, what, I'm going to take a week off from the Mets and resume next week. But as you may or may not know, if you're a Mets fan, you already know. You already know if you're a Mets fan what was going on with the big news out of this weekend was the drama, if you will. What was the Mets held Amazing Day, which seems pretty cool. Yeah, I believe this is the first one. It's the first one I ever heard of, so I assume it's the first one. And I think it's pretty neat. It's neat doing something like that for the fans. Having go up to the stadium and meeting a bunch of the current players. Some older players, some former players, managers and stuff like that. And there's, I guess they have like roundtable discussions or Q&As or whatever you want to call it. So photography stations or whatever, and get your picture taken with a legend or a current player. They look pretty neat. I wonder, how do you become a part of that? Like, was there tickets that you had to buy? Was there like a raffle you had to sign up for? I don't know. But it seemed pretty neat. I'm going to look, see if I can somehow get a hold of tickets next year and go to that. It looked pretty cool. I didn't see Howard Johnson there. I was looking for Hojo. I didn't see Hojo in the pictures and videos that I saw. So I don't know if maybe he wasn't invited. I doubt it. I'm sure he was invited, a part of the '86 Mets, and had some really big seasons with the Mets after that as well. And maybe he just couldn't make it. But yeah, I didn't see him. But I did see what was it? I think Doc Gooden. I think Strawberry, David Wright. I did see John Franco. I think Bobby V was there. Who else? Mike Piazza. I did see Mike Piazza, some video of him, and a bunch of the current players. Brandon Nimmo and Jesse Winker. Who else was there? Francisco Lindor was there. I don't remember seeing Kodai Senga. I could be wrong there. Who else did I see? Francisco Alvarez, Mark Vientos, Brandon Nimmo, of course, with a big smile. So a lot of the Mets were there. One Met that was not there that did get a little bit. Did get noticed, and got a little bit of, I don't know. I don't want to say heat, but Juan Soto, he was not there. And the rumor was, or the reasoning was that he missed his. There's no planes, no flights leaving the Dominican Republic. All flights were canceled for whatever reason. I'm not really sure what it was, what the reason was, but that's why he wasn't there. And my thought was, if it was weather related, which it sounds like to me, if multiple airports weren't flying out, multiple flights were canceled, that tells me that it was probably weather related. There is the forecasts, and there is something you can look, say, a week ahead of time and say, okay, this is bad weather this day, we're supposed to leave. Maybe we leave a couple days early. I don't know. I don't know. That's seems to be like a shitty excuse, if you ask me, to not go to the first amazing day, and being their biggest off-season acquisition ever in the franchise, at least money wise anyway. You think you'd be there, and like I said, I feel like it's a slap in the face to not only David Stearns but also Steve Cohen and the Mets teammates and the Mets fan base. Yeah, if you ask me, it does seem a little harsh. The flight was canceled. Again, if it was weather related, I call bullshit on that. 100% bullshit. I'm going to be real. I'm going to be 100% real. I'm not going to tiptoe around it and say, oh, well, his flight was canceled and all flights were canceled, and it happens. If it was weather related, there's forecast. I can see 10 days on my phone ahead of time for weather. Now, it's not always, you get 10 days out. It's not always 100% correct, but still there are forecasts, which, it's like seeing into the future, the weather future. You can see it, if you have to alter your plans, there's that opportunity 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days ahead of time. You could see that weather. And it looks like, hey, there's a big storm, a tropical depression or something. I don't know what's going on down there in the Caribbean. But there's opportunity to change your plans and to get an earlier flight, a couple days earlier. And something tells me that he can afford the hotel and an extra couple days of hotel stay and stuff. Well, I'm sure it's probably in his contract that Steve Cohen would pay for it anyway. So that ridiculous contract that I read the stipulations in back when he signed it. So we do got a comment here before I continue. We got Jonathan checking in. What's up, Jonathan? How you doing, buddy? Great to hear from you. Thanks for checking the show out. He said, yo, Kenny, I don't know about the Mets. They can act like they can't afford Alonso, but give Soto $800 million. Steve Cohen seems like a phony baloney. And you know what? That's one of the things that really gets under my skin is, and I talked about this last week, Jonathan. I think I did. At least I wanted to. Whether or not I did, I don't know. I get a little bit lost as to what I did talk about, what I didn't talk about, and then all the other shows that I do, they all kind of get mumbled up together. And like kind of like Juan Soto's flight, it just it's delayed, it's canceled, and all that good stuff. I don't remember, but I did say last week that one of the things going into this off season was, with all this money coming off the books, what I heard from the experts, from the media, was that Steve Cohen said his checkbook is wide open, wide open, and nothing is off the table. And of course, that obviously was referencing Juan Soto. Obviously, what else could he be talking about? He's not talking about the homegrown star that's been with the Mets since the beginning. No, talking about the youngster, albeit very good player, possibly top 5 player, top 10 player in the league. I get it. Worth $700-800 million. If it, like Jonathan says here, $800 million. If some of those other incentives or stipulations do kick in, it's well over $800 million, like 820 or whatever it was. I don't remember the exact amount. I'd have to go back in my notes, and I have notebooks of notes from since I started doing this. But anyway, but it's wide open. There's no amount off the table, and so he gives Juan Soto $800 million. But then it comes to your homegrown star. Well, you're asking for too much. You're too old to be getting, more years or a higher dollar amount. What the hell does that even mean? I mean, like, the guy has always produced. Now you want to say he's on a decline. Again, I've mentioned this so many different times. But you want to say he's declining. His numbers are declining. It was one season. Okay, you can go back and look at 2023. Home runs were in the 40s. RBIs were over 100, but did strike out more, I believe. Average was 217 or 215, whatever it was. But okay, then that's a decline in the power numbers in 2024, but he did raise his average. I do believe he did strike out probably less or the same amount. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it's pretty close. So it's not like that increased where you say, look, there's a decline right there. I don't understand it. You don't. It's not a decline in my eyes until you see multiple years of significant change. In the numbers, and I didn't see any significant change. What I saw with my eyes when I watched Pete Alonso this year is that he was struggling. I don't want to say seeing the ball, but he was struggling laying off that low and outside pitch. Right. I mean, I think he saw it all the way in because when he swung, he was pretty close. So that tells me he was seeing it, but he couldn't lay off the damn thing for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but that's correctable. That is absolutely correctable in my eyes. That's something I'm sure he's working on. Right now he's been working on all offseason for whatever team that he does go to. Hopefully it's the orange and blue. It's the Mets. But who knows now? It could be up north. It could be out west. We're not 100% sure, and I don't like that. And another thing that kind of pisses me off a lot, that gets under my skin, and if you can't tell, I am a Pete Alonso guy, and I'm not happy about the way these negotiations went. But I've said it a million times on here. Uh, till the day I die, I am New York Mets. So I am a Mets fan. Doesn't matter uh, what happens with Pete. I mean, I'll be bummed. Absolutely. I will still root for Pete wherever he goes. But it's Mets, and first and foremost, it's always the Mets. And but when Sean Manaea came back, one of the things he said that really one of the reasons why he really wanted to come back because he was offered the same contract from the Athletics, which um, Jesus Christ, I can't think of his name right now. Uh, Severino took with what Severino took. It was the same exact contract. So he could have easily been an A again because that's where he was before. He was an Athletic for a little bit. Sean Manaea, and he said the family aspect of it, felt like a family. And Juan Soto said one of the big reasons he signed with the Mets, instead of the Yankees, was because it felt like a family atmosphere. They made it feel like a family. So this is what you do with your family members. The one that's been in the family the whole time. You kind of just, well, you're not good enough now. We got this new toy over here. Let's go, hang out with him. Let's forget our uncle that's a little bit older, or our cousin that's a little bit older that's been with us, since the beginning. Let's go over to this new guy this adopted kid. No, that shit pisses me off. It's if it was family, he would have been signed already. And I get it. He turned down 6 years, 150, 60, whatever it was, $1 million. I get it. He bet on himself, which you can't blame him. You can't blame him. And if he goes out there and he hits 40 plus home runs again, 100 plus RBI, and hits 220 or 230, he's making that money. He's absolutely making that money. But because he did struggle, and the power numbers weren't there like they've been in the past, he's paying for it. Absolutely. But the whole you know uh, Steve Cohen has infinite amount of money, and it's pennies on a dollar. No price can't be paid. That's baloney. That is phony baloney, Jonathan. I agree there. But I do like our owner. So I'm going to get off that a little bit. I do like our owner because he is a fan. He does want to win. He wants to win for the Mets, and he's doing it for the right reasons. But I just don't like the way these negotiations went. I feel like there's no reason why they're the Mets offer him 3 years, $70 million. Pete rebuts back with 3 years, $90 million with opt outs. Okay, can you meet somewhere in the middle? Like 3 years, $80 million. With one opt out, and there was a clause in there as well that we've been hearing about that was in the contract that was brought back to David Stearns and Cohen, was that if Pete opts out, there'd be a buyout as well. all you have to do is go back and say, all right, there's an opt out. We'll go 80, $85 million. One opt out, uh, minimal deferment, and no buyout. Maybe a deal gets done then. I don't know. It's extremely frustrating. I hate it. I hate it to the ends of the earth. But when you hear people talk about it, the game, the love of the game, and it's a kid's game, and it's all this, that, and the other. First and foremost, it's a business. It's a business, and that's how it gets treated, and it is what it is. It's a $1 billion business, and not a whole lot you can do about it. And I mentioned this last week, Jonathan. I don't know if you've seen it or not. If you've seen last week's episode, but homegrown stars do leave. I get it. Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds, guys like that. Roger Clemens. You can go back. Just A Rod. Uh, who else? Bryce Harper. Left Washington for Philly. It happens all the time. It happens, every year. I wouldn't say every year with big name players, superstar players. It happens quite often. Mike Piazza, another one there. So, I mean, it is what it is. So hopefully it gets done. Hopefully it gets done sooner than later. I'd hate to go into spring training with this still hanging over our heads, because it sucks. It sucks ass. Eileen checking in. What's up, Eileen? She says hump day. Yes, it is, Eileen. So I don't know if you caught the beginning of the show, Eileen, but I forgot to put my headset on. I'm here talking like an ass. And I finally realized, like, you know what? I don't have my headset on. It's over there. So I don't know if anybody heard my opening rant or my opening, my monologue. I don't know. I feel like a late night show host or whatever, trying to say something funny. And sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it strikes out. What are you going to do? Baseball metaphor. Yay. So anyway, back to what I was talking about from this past weekend. Uh, uh, Steve Cohen and the Mets hosting a bunch of fans. I don't know like what the limit was on the amount of people that can attend it, or how they even, like I said, how they even got tickets. Like I said, I don't know if they bought tickets. Was there a raffle? I have no idea. I didn't even know this was happening until this weekend. I'm like, what the hell is that? What is Amazing Day? Seemed pretty cool. Something I'd be definitely interested in going to. And it looked like it was pretty well put together. And minus the Juan Soto not being there. So again, if you're just watching this now, go back and listen to the last 10 minutes or so. And I went into a whole Juan Soto and canceled the flight thing and whatever. It's nonsense. If it was weather related, it's nonsense. Now, if it was something, a mechanical failure, I get it. That stuff is last second or whatever. But if it was weather related, which it sounds like to me, because I did see some people defending him and saying all flights were canceled out of Dominican Republic. Well, you know what? If it was weather related, there is a long term forecast. You can see days ahead of weeks, a week ahead, that it's going to be bad weather. You can leave earlier. No excuse. No excuse. Absolutely not. So, uh, the big news coming out of Amazing Day. We got our boy Cowboy Dave checking in. What's up, Cowboy Dave? Hope you're doing well, buddy. Good morning to you as well. The big news coming out of that was a Q&A session. You had Steve Cohen, uh, David Stearns, and it was hosted by Gary Cohen. I feel like somebody else was up there, but I'm not sure who it was. But it was hosted by Gary, and yeah, it was hosted by Gary. And I guess the question was asked David Stearns about I don't know if it was asked him about Pete, because I never really saw the clip about David with David Stearns talking about Pete and the contract negotiations or whatever. But there was some booing and stuff like that. And Steve Cohen, I think he interrupted the line of questioning, and he spoke about it, and kind of hushed the booing up a little bit. And people started chanting Pete Alonso, Pete Alonso. The fans, letting their voices be known to the owner, and and that's their right. It is their right. Maybe it's kind of crappy doing it in that setting, but it is what it is. You have that opportunity, take that opportunity. I get it. And so Steve Cohen answered to that. And I have a couple quotes here from him. I don't have the whole conversation because there was a lot to write down. I thought about putting the video clip up on here of it. I just figured I'd write it down and speak on it myself. So what Steve Cohen said to the fans about Alonso, he said, personally, this has been an exhausting conversation and negotiation. Soto was tough. This is worse. Meaning dealing with Pete's agent and stuff like that. Whose name escapes my mind right now? Was it Scott Boras? Yeah, there it is. Holy cripes! Um, but this is worse. He says, Soto was tough, but this is worse. I don't like the structure that are being presented back to us. I think it's highly asymmetric against us, and I feel strongly about it. So basically, again, I'm just a high school graduate, so asymmetric, a little bit out of my realm. But what that tells me is that it's all one-sided. It seems to be more in favor of one side than the other side. So uh, uh, the Alonso camp is coming back to Cohen, to Stearns with an offer, and there's no concession. It's all sunshine and rainbows and flowers and kitty cats on one side, and the other side is mud puddle. So that's basically the way I take it. That's what he's saying right there. That they're not really meeting us in the middle. It's all one sided, and it continues to be one sided, and they're not budging. So that's what I get out of that. So he goes on and says, and so I will never say no. There's always a possibility, but the reality is we're moving forward. As we continue to bring in players, the reality is it becomes harder to fit Pete into what is a very expensive group of players that we already have. And this is coming from the man with an infinite amount of money. And again, I think that the luxury tax thresholds have a large part in that. And I tried talking about it last week, but you know what? You're better off going to Locked On Mets with Ryan Finkelstein. And again, I don't agree with a lot of stuff that Ryan Finkelstein says, but I do respect it. And he talked about the luxury tax, I think it was last week. And kind of tipped my cap. So, yes, sir. Like whatever you say, Ryan. Just listening to it and the way he talked about it, and it's not confusing, but it's a whole lot of math and numbers, and that's not my dealie. So it was something. So basically, he's saying we're uh, moving on without Pete, and uh, it could still happen. They still could bring Pete in, but the fans better prepare themselves for a polar bearless team. So that's what I get out of it. But he did leave the door open a little bit, and it sounded like from reports that I've seen over the last couple days that after this past weekend, Steve Cohen directly reached out to Pete Alonso. Went past Scott Boras, went right to Pete Alonso to talk to him, and it appears that the window has been, or the door, whatever barrier you want to talk about, has been opened a little bit more. So they are talking again, and hopefully this gets resolved, and hopefully there hasn't been too much damage done to Pete's reputation, and also to tarnish Steve Cohen and the Mets reputation. Like again, it's been contentious, it's been salty, it's been a shit show, to put it in layman's terms. And I will stick with the shit show part of it. I think that's how I will describe it from now on. And hopefully it gets figured out. But Pete's, rewind a little bit. Pete's agent, Scott Boras, did say after Cohen went out there and spoke publicly about it, he said, I think it was later that day or the next day on Sunday, Boras said, Pete's free agent contract structure requests are identical to the standards and practices of other clubs who have signed similar. Oh, that's hard. A hard word to say. Similar. Oh, I can't say it. Identical. I'm just gonna say identical. Who have signed signed identical situated qualifying offer slash all star level players. Nothing different, just established fairness standards, and that's what Boris said. That was reported on by Will Salmon. At least that's where I got it from. Will Salmon. It was a tweet that Will Salmon put out there, so I gave him credit for it, which doesn't mean anything. So Will Salmon, you got credit from the bat fry. Congratulations, whatever the hell that means. So Boris is saying basically, this it's a fair deal, and from I guess all angles of it, in his eyes, it might be, but in the eyes of the Mets and their front office and everybody that's involved with it, it's definitely not. And that's why I don't understand how they cannot have met in the middle already. Like there has to be a happy medium. The Mets offered 3 years, 65, $70 million. They came back with 3 years, 90 with opt outs. The Mets had deferment, I think, in some deferred money, not a little bit of deferred money. From what I understand, it wasn't a whole lot of deferred money towards the back end of the contract. And, why not? Why can't they just meet in the middle and say, okay, let's go 80, 85 million. Hey, well, let's just say 80. All right, let's go 80 million. The Mets offered 3 years, 70. They said 3 year 90. Let's go 3 years, 80, one opt out, no buyout clause, and no deferment then. I mean, that to me, that's meeting in the middle. I don't know. You know, I don't know. I've never had to negotiate a contract really before in my life. When I buy a car, they tell me a price, and I look at my wife, and she negotiates. She's the hard ass. I'm not the hard ass. I'd like, okay, I'll pay that. Actually, the last my truck that I have now, I did a little bit of poking and like, I think it's a little high. So I'll take a little bit of credit on that one. But I'm not a negotiator. I'm not a contract guru or anything like that. But it seems to be pretty cut and dry there. Why not just meet in the middle somewhere and be done with it? I did hear reports that the Angels were offering Pete $100 million. I don't know if that's true or not. And it seemed like the Angels have made a decent amount of moves this past offseason. I'd have to go back and look to see exactly what their roster looks like, but maybe they're building something there. I don't know. If you get a healthy Mike Trout, Rendon, uh, and Pete in a lineup, who knows? What could happen there. The key there is a healthy Mike Trout. Dude has been struggling the last couple seasons with his health, and it's a shame because he is a premier player, one of the best all time, one of the greatest all time. And one, the injuries, and two, he's stuck in LA. He signed a huge ass contract uh, where I would have put $100 saying that he was going to go to Philly. He was a Philly guy, and it seemed like the Phillies had a decent contract there, but the Angels just went above and beyond it, and now he's stuck there forever. Just like Sandlot, that part in the Sandlot. If you ever seen the Sandlot, you know what I'm going to say. Forever, right? That part of the movie. That's poor Mike Trout there in an Angels uniform. It is what it is. He signed a contract. That's where you're going to be, I guess. All right, so that's what I have to say about that. About the Pete Alonso situation, still ongoing and bothersome. Really troubling, and the fact that they say because of his age and stuff, the dude probably still probably still has a solid 7 years in him yet, where he could be still a preeminent power hitter in the major leagues. You don't again, this is all projections and prognosticating and such. You don't know for sure until it happens. You just don't know. It's all speculation, and he could go out there and hit 15 home runs for the next 3 years and totally lay an egg. You don't know. But I doubt that would happen, at least to that degree anyway. That was a very extreme example that I just used there. And I feel with today's players, athletes, in any sport, they're playing at a higher level at an older age now. And there's no reason why I don't believe that Pete could still be a top notch power hitter into his late 30s. 36, 37, 38. I don't see why not. So And especially with the DH being in the National League now. You get him off the field there. In the next couple of years, and into the DH role, and you might extend his career another his power part of his career for another season or two. Who knows? I just saying his age is one of the reasons why, and he's on the decline. And and another thing that really, oh Jesus, I another thing that pisses me off is, or in the articles that I read from the media, obviously that's where the articles are coming from, media people, talking about the unathletic Pete Alonso. And I've watched that dude do some amazing things at first base. He's also done some shitty things. Yes, nobody's saying he's the greatest first baseman ever, but he's definitely not the worst first baseman. He's not the worst first baseman in the league. He's not the best first baseman in the league. He's about average at first base, if you ask me. Well above average in picking some of these balls out of the sand. You put Mark Vientos there. How many of those balls are getting by him? How many more errors? How many more runners on base? He's not gonna be able to pick those balls out of the sand like Pete does. So at least at the rate that Pete was. And but anyway, and watching Pete run the bases. How many times do we see Pete go from first to third, or first to home on a ball that's hit to the wall or whatever, just trucking, just moving. You tell me that man's unathletic as you're sitting behind a keyboard, we typing, shove that up your ass, man. I don't know. Unathletic? Yeah, I would fold that up, shine it up a little bit, turn it sideways, and stick that right up your ass. That's nonsensical to say. So to say almost anybody in any kind of professional sport is unathletic is ridiculous. Now there are exceptions to the rule, and I will point to Daniel Vogelback. I don't see anything athletic about him. He gets up there, he swings the bat hard, has a good eye, but watching him run, does not look very athletic. He doesn't really play the field, so you can't really judge it by there. So I have no problem saying that Daniel Vogelback is athletic. He's a better hitter than I ever was. I'll say that. But I I'd I'd race him. I think I'd race him. I ain't gonna say I'll beat him, but I think I'd put up a fight. And I'm slow and a couple knee surgeries and much older than Daniel Vogelback. He's what I would say is unathletic and not Pete Alonso. So it's saying lumbering first baseman. That was another quote that I seen. It's oh man, there's all sorts of expletives I use for that one. It just stuff like that gets under my skin. It's ridiculous. It's like they haven't even watched them play. To be honest with you, I'm just rambling now. I'm just going off course here. I apologize. But anyway, I'm moving on from that. One little quick note I want to hit on, or I don't want to say note or whatever, but a topic was I've been seeing a lot more reports recently that the Mets uh, may be interested in bringing back Max Scherzer. They were at a workout that he held for a bunch of teams and whatnot, and there were some teams that stayed and did talk to Max, but the Mets were not one of them. But that's there. They went out there. They did um, their homework. See what he has left and kind of see how he's looking. And it's a possibility. And would I want Max Scherzer back? I wouldn't mind having Max Scherzer back. I don't like Max Scherzer as a person. I think he's a dickhead. And I've said that since he was a Met. When he was on the Mets team, I said he's a dickhead, but he's not going to change my mind. And but he's a decent pitcher. He can go out there and get you some big wins. He's not as consistent, I don't think, as he was in his younger days, but he can go out there and get you some big wins. He can go out there and throw some big games yet, and I have no doubt that he can get you a season of 3 point somewhere between 3.7 to 4 ERA ball, and I think that's better than what we have at the bottom of our rotation right now. So I wouldn't mind seeing Max Scherzer, and again, Jose Quintana is still out there. I wouldn't mind seeing Jose Quintana. He might be a cheaper get than what Max is, what Max would be looking for. So, and I think they'd probably be about the same. A high 3, low 4 ERA, which again, it's not all that bad for a 4 or 5, possibly 6 starter in your rotation. And there is uh, that competitiveness in Max Scherzer, where he gets up for the big games, and and there are times he does shut the other team down, but there are also times where he stinks to join up. We've seen that quite a few times, especially in 2023 before he got traded, where he'd have a couple decent games, and then it'd be a big game and he just shit the bed totally, and then you get dickhead Max again, where he's kind of pouting out there on the mound and all that good stuff, and so it's out there. We'll see what happens. There are other free agents still out there, like a Nick Pivetta, Jack Flaherty. I don't think that's a possibility, and still a whole bunch of different bullpen arms out there that the Mets are possibly looking at to kind of round out our bullpen. But yeah, I don't think they're done with free agency yet. But outside of Pete Alonso, I think they're done with big name free agents. And I would consider Max Scherzer a big name free agent. I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. Mets and Max Scherzer, but like Steve Cohen said about Pete, you never say never, but I think that door's closed. Jonathan says Max is old and injury prone. Yeah, especially this part of his career, he has definitely been injury prone over the last few seasons. He's been out quite a few times with injuries. I guess what was it, neck, shoulder, forearm, stuff like that. Your typical pitcher type stuff. And old wise, I guess what is he? 30, 38, 39, 40, somewhere around there, 41. So yeah, he is old. And he wouldn't be. And again, you assume the Mets are going on a 6-man rotation, so there will be extra rest there for Max. But he's not going to be your number 1, number 2, or even number 3 starter. So as a 4, 5, 6, I don't think it would be terrible, but I don't see it happening. I absolutely don't see it happening. Also, Max got a big mouth. Snitches get stitches, and absolutely that's. I was calling him a dickhead. Before all the snitching stuff happened, just the way he would act on the mound sometimes. And there was that one where there's supposed to, I don't know who it was, if it was a celebrity. I don't think it was a celebrity. Was supposed to go out there and throw a first pitch, but he was out there on the mound and refused to get off, so they couldn't do the first pitch, or they did it off to the side or whatever. That's some bullshit, man. You know what? Get your privileged ass off the mound. Let them throw their first pitch, get their little pitcher taken, and then get back on the mound and throw. You know what I mean? Like it's they didn't want to. He didn't want his routine interrupted. You get over yourself, bro. You know what I mean? It's nonsense. It's dickhead move. It's dickhead behavior. It's douchebagginess, and that's who he is, though. That's the vibe I get from that guy. I don't know. Again, I could be way off, but just seeing the way he handles himself out on the field sometimes when things are not going right, and the way he acts towards people, it just feels like everybody's beneath him. So, just don't like him as a person. I don't. Player, he had his moments, in his career where he was awesome. I guess the one big thing is he and and Verlander. What is it? 30. I think it's both are very close to 3,500 strikeouts. Is it? I feel like it's 3,500 strikeouts. Both of them are very close, and that's kind of what they're. I know Verlander signed with. Did he sign with the Giants? I think for 1 year, 15 mil, maybe something like that. And so Scherzer's going to find somewhere to go because just two competitive guys that are I assume friends. I don't know. Trying to get to that milestone, I guess you'd say, of 3,500 strikeouts. So I like Verlander. I wouldn't mind them bringing Verlander back. Another older guy, had a rough season last year, but I do like Verlander. I think he's a decent person, and I still feel like he has a little bit left in the tank where He can make a difference. And Scherzer, I'm just not really too sure about it. All right. So, like I said, I was going to cut this episode short. Usually I go over an hour. We're at 41 minutes right now, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this short. So I'm going to do some reads here before you guys go. I got a couple important um, pieces of information. If you're watching right now, which you are, why the hell didn't that go up there? Hang on a second. 1 second here. I don't want that. Save. All right. This is what I wanted. If you like to see uh, yourself doing this, if you want to try it out, you want your own show, there's a team or whatever that you want to talk about one of your teams, even if you want to do another Mets podcast, you're like, you know what, this guy, freaking sucks, talking Mets, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Uh, he's a moron. I want to do my own Mets show. Reach out to us, and we could have dueling Mets shows. There we go. Or if there's any other team or whatever that you want to talk about, do a podcast, a show on, reach out to Paul Spencer on Facebook or on X at OOTBox Sports. Shoot him a DM there as well and let him know your idea, what you're looking to do. And we can get you started. You can become part of the Out of the Box Sports Network family, and you don't get paid. So, you don't get paid. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I have fun doing this. I really do. Talking about teams that I love, and talking about sports, which I've loved sports my whole life. I've played sports, basically most of my life. All the way up. I guess including coaching. I guess you can call that playing sports a little bit. Yeah, I'm out there with the kids running around, but I don't coach anymore either. So I'm just, I guess, coaching my daughters. At home and practicing with them and trying to get them better. And but yeah, I love sports. I love talking about sports. And I'm not professional. A lot of this stuff is opinion based and doesn't make any sense, but it makes sense to me. But if you're ever interested in doing a podcast, whether it's sports or even entertainment, if you want to talk about movies, TV shows, books, aliens, Jesus, Joe Rogan and his aliens or whatever, you could be the next Joe Rogan. You never know, right? You never know. Reach out to us. We appreciate it very much. And like I said, you'll have fun. Try it out. You don't like it, you don't like it. No big deal. And if you want to help me out, go to www.w.gg. Check out W Energy Drink. I enjoy it. I really like it. I think it's a good product. It's a natural product. It's made from coffee fruit extract. It's a jitterless energy drink. And again, I think that's huge. It's very important. I used to drink a decent amount of energy drinks when I worked when I worked swing shift at the steel mill, and a lot of energy drinks, and it used to give me the jitters, and I had enough of it. I'm a coffee guy as well. The coffee doesn't give me the jitters, but the stubby energy drink, Dubby energy drink, it gives me the boost like those like the Monster energy drinks did, Red Bulls or whatever. And but it doesn't give me the jitters, so it doesn't give me the heart palpitations where I think I'm dying. Like, oh my god, I need to go to the hospital. No, it's none of that. Great taste. They come in powder form, so you can make it however you want to. The two flavors I have right now. It's one scoop for what is it, 12 to 16 ounces. I go a little bit more than that. I like my stuff watered down, so that's how I am with like iced tea mix or whatever. I like to water it down a little bit. I'm a little bit odd, so that's what I'm into. It's very good. I dig it, and I wouldn't steer you wrong. So if you're gonna do that, you want to check them out. Go to www.w.gg again, or type in your Google. It's so much easier. Type in your Google search engine W Energy, W Energy drinks, and the website will pop up. And just click on that link. Use the promo code The Bat Cave for 10% off your order. Like I said, they have a whole bunch of different flavors for the energy drinks. They have hydro drinks, hydration drinks. They have shakers. They have swag, stuff like that. Actually W is more geared towards gamers and stuff like that. So you see, some of their swag is geared towards gaming and anime and stuff. So if you're into that, check it out. And like I said, use the promo code. Use the promo code, The Batcave. It's all one word, how it's written there. And I'm going to add the link to my personal profile on X. That way, if you just want to tap my link, it'll take you right to that, to the W website. And the Batcave promo code should already be entered in there. So So check it out. And if you do check it out, let me know. I'd be curious to see what your thoughts are on what you got, if you like it or not, or what flavor you got. And I'll base my next flavor on what you have. If you like it, I'll try that flavor. So like right now, I just got in. I think it's dragon. I don't know what the exact name of it is, but it's a mix of dragon fruit and strawberry lemonade. That's what the flavor is, and it smells fantastic. Tastes great as well. And the one I had before was Cala. I, I I think it's called Cali O Dream. It was mango and orange creamsicle. That was phenomenal. I loved it. I went through that tub pretty quick. So so yeah, check it out. I think you'll be happy with it. Follow us on Out of the Box Sports on X and YouTube. The handle is at OOTBox Sports. Give us a follow and subscribe to the channel. My YouTube channel is at the Batcave _ OOTBSE. That's all my stuff will be on there. But all my stuff plus at the other shows we do at Out of the Box Sports, go to at OOTBox Sports. Like I said, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on X. Greatly appreciated. My X handle at the Batcave OOTBS. Give me a follow there. I follow back as long as you're not somebody trying to scam me out of my riches, some sort of Nigerian prince or whatever. I don't know. And of course, check out our good friend, your good friend, Jason Fine, J Fine Law at Attorney Big Attorney Big Al, also known as Attorney Big Al. You can reach him at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. He has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. His office in New Jersey is located in Cherry Hill on 3 Greensward Lane. The phone number there is 856-209-5258. He has 2 offices located in Pennsylvania, one in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, located at 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. And he has an office in Philly on 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. That's Jason Fine, Attorney Big Al. All right, we got a couple more comments, and I'll have a final thought here before I get out of here. He said, thanks Jonathan for checking the show out. I appreciate the comments as well. It makes the show a lot easier when you comment. That way it feels like I'm actually talking to somebody instead of just looking at my face and I'm talking to myself. It's really hard doing it then. Comments are very much appreciated. Positive, negative, it doesn't matter. I like comments. He says the new Mets jerseys look like crap. I don't know. I'm kind of stuck in the middle on it yet. I do like the New York lettering, kind of like the old school lettering that they had for like a season or two back in the 80s. I'm all right with that part of it. The blue and the orange outline, I don't know. I just feel like there needs to be a little bit of white in there. I could be wrong. Maybe there is white and I'm just not seeing it. But yeah, I'm on the fence yet. I'm not hating it. I'm not liking it. I'm kind of right in the middle, so I'm not really sure. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. For instance, when I first seen the City Connect uniforms, I loved them. I absolutely loved them. I loved everything that was behind it, all the meanings and stuff like that. But this I didn't fall in love with right away, but I didn't hate it right away either. So I don't know. I'm still, the jury is still out. The jury is still out for me, and we'll see what happens. So, and if there's anybody out there that wants to join me on an episode of the Batcave, hit me up, and we'll set something up. If you want to hop on and talk, about your Mets fandom and what your thoughts are on the Mets, the state of the Mets, and whatnot. Like I said, hit me up on X at the Batcave OOTBS, and we'll set something up, before the season starts, or even if you want to do something during the season, I'm down with that as well. So, all right, thank you everybody for checking the show out. Again, I appreciate every single one of you, and until next time, all I gotta say is, let's go Mets and sign Alonso, damn it.